Welcome everybody to the first episode of Pat Chat. Yes, I didn't rip off TED Talks. It's Pat Chat. It's its own thing, where I talk to industry professionals about their careers, about their passions, the things that they love, the things that they hate, how they got to be where they are. And there is no cooler first guest that I think I could possibly have for this than the host of Good Things Utah. She graduated from the Atlantic Theater Company Acting School in New York. She's performed for David Mamet. She's a Utah local, a member of the Actors Equity for 13 years. Give it up for Deena. What's up?
Can I just come here and have you intro me and pump me up whenever I'm feeling like blah or down on myself or just need a little pep in my step and twinkle in my eye? Geez.
Well, I don't see how you could ever be down on yourself with all of the stuff that you've accomplished. Thank you really so much for being on. This is so cool.
Thanks for having me. I'm honored to be your first ever guest. This is such a cool setup. I'm so impressed already.
Oh, thank you. It's a garage, but
no one gets to know about it. They don't know where we are. Top secret location.
Exactly.
Impeccable studio. No, but seriously, thank you so much. It's a big honor to be guest number one. I love doing podcasts. It's so much fun and you're fun. So I'm excited to sit down and chat with you.
And you've been doing a podcast at the Regan, I believe.
Well, kind of. So we do a YouTube arts and entertainment show once a month at the Eccles Theater Black Box. Yeah, on Regent Street.
I've been watching some of those podcasts, and that is fun. It's Jovan, right? Jovan and
Javin.
Javin. Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yeah.
What made you guys start that? What was
so he's the artistic director of the Sting and Honey Company, and they're a resident there of the Black Box. And I've done classical theater with him since I think 2012, and then we've just gotten close over the years as he's directed me, as we've been in shows together.
What did he
written
direct
a lot, a ton. I think the first that we ever did was a Shakespearean play. It's called The Winter's Tale. And then we were supposed to do two plays together in 2020, but then of course the Rona came and all of that is on hold. But yeah, he's one of my very best friends, closest friends. And so we felt like we had a fun banter together and, kind of an energy together that we're like, we got to do something. What should we do? So we decided to turn it into this arts and entertainment show. Again, Rona hitting made discussing the arts, a little bit, it took a detour. There wasn't a lot to go out and see with so many productions canceled, but we stayed committed to our once a month show and got creative, and we're still making it happen.
I really like your guys' back and forth. I think that's going to go places the more you keep putting out stuff. And your channel, I had no idea the treasure trove of stuff that you have on your YouTube channel.
Oh boy, did you watch some? He's like, I can never look at you the same again. I had no idea you were such a weirdo,
in
Deena.
the best way, because I think we have an equal level of weirdness when it comes to some of the stuff that we were doing.
Isn't that such a relief when you meet a fellow weirdo and you're just like one of my people?
Exactly. Well, what made you start YouTube? Because I do know it was the first video that you ever did was kind of a parody of the Leave Britney Alone video, right?
Yeah.
Leave Jennifer Love Hewitt alone right now. She's a human.
Chris Crocker, little shout out if those watching remember him or maybe still follow him. He's still funny. So the year was 2007. It was like the very end of the year. And
when YouTube was first, it was ramping up. You were in one of the best influxes of YouTube.
It's so true. And that's one thing that I always say when I start my YouTube story and I tell this story is that I really lucked out with when I decided to try my hand at becoming a YouTuber, because it was at the beginning and I had just kind of found out about it, and people said, you can watch cat videos and funny videos. And I think my first ever video I saw was of people's cats. And I was like, what is this? People do what? They post what? And then became aware that you could create a name for yourself online. And when I realized people were becoming famous for posting themselves online, I was like, I can do that.
Well, where were you in life currently at that point then? So,
well, it's so silly.
What were you doing before the YouTube was starting out?
Acting. So I was doing a ton of professional theater, and a lot of what I was doing was very dramatic roles. And I had a funny side and a wacky side, and I wanted to showcase too. But I mean, how presumptuous to go, I'm going to do that and I'll make a name for myself. I mean, who does that? But I think ignorance.
That's everybody now.
Like ignorance was bliss, and I didn't, know any better. But I did work really hard at keeping like at gaining subscribers and keeping connections with people and building this base. But I think that number one, I worked really hard at it. I had good quality of what I was putting up, and I got in there when it wasn't oversaturated.
Well, and back in the day, nobody was looking at a YouTube channel to be something that could like catapult you to something bigger. But that's what your channel did. It gave you so many more opportunities, so much more stuff. Were you thinking when you started doing it that this was just going to be fun for some friends, or were you kind of like anticipating at least this could be a good demo reel for somebody to see some of the acting, the improvisation chops that I have?
Yeah, I wanted to use it as a catalyst to open other doors and to make a name for myself. And because I was doing so much dramatic work, I was like, I don't get to do the funny stuff, and this will be a fun way to showcase that.
Were you in New York at this point?
No, I had moved back home. I had been home for a couple years at that point.
Okay.
So yeah, I was just back. I was doing theater and freelance work, and then just kind of dipped my toe into the YouTube world, and things happened quick. So I started posting the end of 2007, and then by spring of 2008, I was a YouTube partner. It was getting a lot of buzz. It had a couple of features in the Salt Lake Tribune over the years. Do you know how hard it is to be a partner now? I have no idea. I can't even imagine what that world is like now.
I think you have to give up your firstborn if you want to be a partner.
I mean, I can't even imagine. Maybe your first couple born. I don't even know what that world is anymore.
Yeah. Well, you know where you could have really done well if you had started now, though? TikTok.
I know.
Your characters are brilliant, first of all.
I feel like I should give it a little whirl, but now I feel so out of touch with that. So the other night I'm laying there with my boyfriend, Mike, and we're scrolling through TikTok trying to figure it out. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, how does this happen? This is what happens. This is how you become old and out of touch. You're like, how do I post? What do I do? Mm-hmm. But we're like, we should do some fun stuff together. I mean, now I'm in this new chapter of my life with my new boyfriend, with our new baby on the way. And we're like, we want to do funny stuff, and we want to sing and post all sorts of stuff. So we need to figure out the TikTok, and I don't know, we'll see. But again, it seems so overwhelming and so oversaturated, whereas in 2007, it was not that.
No. Well, which character do you think you would first introduce in TikTok? Would you go for like Little Miss Honeybee, or would you go for Jack and Coke Lady?
You know what my favorite is?
I want to know. That was one of the questions.
Little Miss Honeybee.
Okay, tell me why. I have to know.
She, I feel like, comes the most naturally and is the most fun to me. Now, let me preface this by saying I haven't done that character since probably 2012.
But we might get her to do it.
I don't know. I don't know that will happen. But I do still, from time to time, think of videos I would have her do. It's time consuming. And now that I am a mom, I have a little boy who will be 5 in March. Mm-hmm. But I'm torn because I don't have as much time as I once did. But then, talking about TikTok, it's a couple seconds maybe here and there to create. And I also think that he would think it was so funny and be like, what is mom doing? She's nuts, but love it.
Let me pitch you this. Have you seen the TikTok video of the guy with the big thing of juice longboarding down the road?
Yes.
Okay.
The ocean spray guy.
Just do ocean spray.
Just simple things
plug
like
that in with your character.
I
Boom.
know.
If that guy can make it in TikTok,
then the options are endless. And you never know what's going to take off.
I don't even know if that's I don't know what that means to be out of touch if you're just holding it. It's like I'm trending with the kids now. I've heard that sea shanties is a thing. Have you heard this?
No. Really?
Sea shanties. I once was a man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, I'd learn a couple of those and put my own spin on them.
I don't understand.
That's the kind of stuff that I do like, though. Just like random, weird. I mean, who knows? Maybe 2021 will be the year. We'll see.
That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. So one of the videos, you actually went in and got a custom grill.
Hey guys, thanks for coming. I'm Deena, and today is the day. Follow me. What is it? What is it? Oh my god. Oh my god, I love it.
Is that true? Is that an actual grill that you have now today, or?
So let me see. What year was that? That was one of the first ones. And that is one of my favorite videos on there. It's supposed to be kind of like this MTV reality show style of following along with Deena, with me, as I go and get my grill done. And then it goes horribly wrong and it's awful and it's in the way. And then I think by the end, like my Deena character embraces it. I don't even remember what I used for the grill. It was probably something that I bought for a couple bucks in a candy aisle. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. But that is one of my favorite videos.
Back in the day, it would be like gum wrappers. Like you wrap the gum wrapper around.
Yes.
But yours was gold. So
yeah, it was like
found something pretty cool that made it look legit.
Fake teeth in my mouth. That was a fun one. That was one of my favorites.
Well, what was it like first living in New York? And you're a local to Utah, so you went to New York and then came back, right?
Yeah. Yep.
What was the biggest like switch up other than you're suddenly in a Salt Lake times 50?
Well, I had gone to New York a couple times. The first time that I went, I was 9, and I remember being there with my mom and my aunt, and I knew the minute I like set foot in New York at 9 that I will live here someday. I loved it. And then went back in high school, and then I think another time after that. But no, you're right. I mean, living in New York versus visiting, two very different things. And after high school, I went to Westminster for a year. The drama department kind of talked me into that. And I did not plan to stay here. I was like, graduated from high school, gonna go to school in New York. But they tried to talk me into it and go, just give it a whirl. Try being a big fish in a small pond. Let's, just see if you like it. So I said, okay. And I stayed here for a year going to Westminster, and I did love it. And I had great experiences, but I still was like, I have to experience life in New York. So after that year, I went to school there, right in Chelsea, to the Atlantic Theater Acting Company. And that's one of the NYU studios. And I did a conservatory program with them. And, it was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
Yes.
I feel like, first
walking
of all,
on Broadway Street and a bird eats a rat suddenly.
I mean, I've seen it all. You see it all eventually in New York. I love it. There's no place like it. But also, being a student and having financial help from your parents at that time, it worked out. Had I continued on and just had to pay all of my own way, that would have been hard. That would have been a rough life, I guess, until, who knows, I got to maybe established and made some money, but who knows what would have ultimately happened. But I was there on and off for about 5 years, and did shows and took classes, and it was magical and hard and annoying and incredible and all the things.
And how am I already forgetting? This was pre-YouTube or post-YouTube?
This was pre-YouTube.
Pre-YouTube. Okay. So you had all of this stuff going in when you jumped into your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Tons of talent. Tons of ability.
When I came back from New York, I wasn't planning to move back home. I was like, I came back to do a play, and I said, okay, I'll do one play, this one show I really wanted to do, and then I'm moving back.
Which one was that?
It was Jesus Christ Superstar at the Egyptian Theater Company. And then I got one show right after that, Amadeus at Pioneer Theater Company. And I said, okay, 2 shows, and then I'm done. I'm moving back. And then I just continued to work and get great roles, and then kind of make that name for myself here. And then the YouTube thing happened shortly after, and that opened, like we had touched on a little bit before, doors to do other things I normally would never have gotten to do. And I had a lot of fun it went on for years, the fun things that were coming my way because of all of it.
Well, some of those things, like you went and runway modeled.
Yeah.
What's the craziest thing about doing that? Is it just making sure that you're not going to fall off? Because I would totally go opposite way, go backwards, have toilet paper stuck to my foot, something weird like that. What was that experience like?
I loved it. And I did quite a bit of that too. And now I feel like that was so long ago. Now I'm just like, I'm a pregnant, retired mom. That seems like a lifetime ago, but it was fun. It was just so fun. You're right. Dang, you're right. What am I saying? I'm selling myself short.
Queen slay. That's what we say.
I think my favorite one was one I did in LA. And it was with a designer named Jared Gold, who's a Utah based designer too, but he lived in LA and worked all over. He was even like doing some work with America's Next Top Model at one point. So super talented, but he had a big show out there. And I mean, he had celebrities that attended his show. Billy Corgan was there in the front row. And I was just fun. I was never particularly stressed about it, probably because I knew that was not my job. It was just something fun that I was doing. I really enjoyed it. It was like playing dress up and playing pretend. It wasn't like that's how I made a living. So I think you're able to take some pressure off and just relish in it. And again, looking back on those things that I got to do, it's like it just happened. it seems like yesterday, but yet it was so long ago, and it was just such a fun time. It's so fun.
Well, was there any advice that you got along the road that stuck with you? I'm sure there was tons of things that professors or different like people that were just in the theater industry had, but what was some of the big takeaways that you still use today, like when you're just hosting Good Things Utah?
My number one thing is professionalism. Being professional, being kind, conducting yourself in a professional manner to clients, to guests, always being on time, making the other person feel welcome, making the other person feel, comfortable and at ease, and really connecting, being genuine. But I think really it happened when I was training at the Atlantic Theater Company, how much it is instilled that you are on time, you show up, you are prepared, you are professional. And then bringing that back here at times too, even doing the theater I did here, sometimes people would tell me, which is funny after you've watched my YouTube and seen like what a wackadoo I can be.
I've seen some of the Broadway stuff too, or the off-Broadway and some of your singing too. You're kind of like a triple threat.
Well,
you got to make sure you know everything with it.
Like I said, I just feel tired and pregnant today. So thank you. Thank you very much. But I think that, people sometimes were like, you're so serious, because I was so focused and so prepared, but it's always, my work is so important to me. Mm-hmm. And I always take such pride in it. And I want to always, represent myself in that professional way. And so, yeah, that's just been number one. And that bleeds over into everything.
Yeah.
And then people know you're dependable, you're trustworthy, you're an asset, you bring that value. And I think that is so crucial.
Well, do you have like a favorite if it comes to, because you basically have every trick in the book when it comes to, I can dance, I can sing, I can act. Do you have a preference when it comes down to it, which you would prefer doing?
I do. So my love of my life is theater. And I do love dramatic work and classical work. If I could have just done that forever, I think that would have been great. But then there were times, like I said, where I need my silly outlet. So, but that's where my greatest love, I think, started, where it still lies. And yeah, definitely.
Do you think, is there more of a nervousness to being on stage than to being like just live for Good Things Utah? Is there a crazy dynamic between the two?
I think they are such different things, like cannot even compare. And I'll explain that. But I will say that because I was used to performing, it, I think, brought something to it, because I didn't go to journalism school. I went to acting school. But I think that helped me do the job that I do now. But I mean, if you're on stage and you're playing a character and all this preparation has gone in, you're speaking someone else's words. You are, you have your blocking, where you're moving, where you're standing, what your objective is. You have this other character. You're somebody else. You're not you. Versus interviewing somebody and sitting down and chatting, you have to bring yourself to it. You have to bring your personality to it and your own experiences. So you definitely have to draw from your own life and be yourself, so people, can connect with you, because you want to have a genuine interaction. But I do think that it helps at other times to be a little bit of a heightened version of yourself, which I think is easy to tap into because I've been a performer.
Yeah. I think I get into a hypermanic state whenever I'm on the show, where it's like, I'm very excited and the confidence is there, but it's also jumbled in this big kind of like word cloud of how to manage to get the reviews out. You were the one that I guess positioned for me to go on and do movie reviews too, by the way. Thank you for that. That's probably one of the coolest things that's ever happened to me.
Oh my gosh. Well, we had talked about, bringing some people on to do that. And I was like, I know a lot of people. Let me reach out, see who knows who. And your name came up multiple times, reached out to you. And now you've been on, for a few months.
I think I did 6 in a row. And I'm a hold to that record. It felt good.
Yes.
It's all me. But
no, I love it. And what I also love about you is, you're good at it and you have your knowledge that you have and it's important to you and all of those things that make it good, but you also love it. and you appreciate it. And that is a huge thing for me because I feel that way in my job. And I feel like that's so important. And so I see that. I see you. I see that appreciation and that love behind it. And that's a big deal.
Well, you have it too. We nerd out with stuff like Christmas Chronicles Part 2. We were nerding out when we went to Megaplex for it. Have you seen WandaVision yet?
No. And I'm freaking out. I want to start it immediately. Maybe
Valerie
I will.
Did so good yesterday, by the way.
Yeah, she was
awesome.
Great.
I'm glad that she got to talk about WandaVision with you guys. Did you know she worked for Disney?
No.
Yeah, she worked for Disney for a little bit.
That's awesome. That was my first time meeting her and I loved her too. And that's another one of the things, that's a thing about this job that I love so much is all the people that I get to cross paths with and have conversations with that I might not normally get to. It's my favorite.
Well, let's take a pause with going through the bio and do a little bit of looking at Instagram.
I'm
now,
excited for this.
This is a new segment because it's a new show. So I guess I shouldn't say new segment. It's a segment. And we're going to be going through a few Instagram photos that I picked out that I just wanted to know a little more context about. I don't know if this will work. We don't know. But let's go ahead and pull up the first one.
Okay.
Oh,
I love it.
We're going to edit these in post, but we'll start here. So for the listeners, this is a life-size Barbie.
Yep.
Deena is a life-size Barbie, and she's in there's packaging next to her.
Yes. Okay, so this wasn't just last Halloween, but it was the Halloween before on GTU, on Good Things Utah. And you know, I've been in that job full-time with them for a little over a year and a half. It will be 2 years this summer. And I've watched the show for years. I had filled in years ago and was up for this position like back in 2014. I'd freelanced with them and it was something I was aspiring to like the last 5 or 6 years. So I remember watching the Halloween episodes and they always dress up and it's so elaborate and it looks so fun. And I was always like, I want to do that. I want to be there. So this is the first Halloween after I was a part of the show. And one of our producers, when she said we were going to be Barbies, I was like, cool, but how do we do that? How do people know that we're Barbies? And then they assigned our Barbies and they said, you're the retro Barbie in the swimsuit. And I mean, that Barbie's pretty iconic. I feel like most people will probably see it and know, like one of the first Barbies. You could pull it up online. And I think if you do the swipe through that post, you'll see the actual Barbie too. But I was able to track down a similar swimsuit. They're like, do you want a wig? I was like, no, I know how to do my hair just like it. And it turned out so awesome. Everybody looked awesome though. That's the thing. They all looked like the Barbies they were supposed to be. And then somebody, I can't remember who, but somebody had access to those Barbie packages. And then we kind of walked out with our Barbie arms. It was so fun.
Brian showed up as Ken, right? He did.
He was Ken.
Okay, good.
His wig was amazing. It was like plastic
he can't just be
hair.
In the corner for that. He needs
oh no, he's always dressed up in a part of it, and he was an awesome Ken.
So the other picture, I just want to know a little bit more about because we've got an at Leonardo. And what were you doing exactly with this? Okay,
so the year is 2013. It's spring. Okay, so who we're looking at here? Me in the middle with very short hair.
You're rocking it, by the way.
Thank you. I had just shaved my head and it was growing back.
All the way?
Yeah.
What?
It was totally buzzed off.
How did I miss those?
I don't know. Maybe not quite back far enough.
I think I got to that hairdo and that was like that length and there wasn't anything else. Or I did a lot of this.
There's a lot there. They exist. They're out there somewhere. I'll have to show you after. But so in the gray suit, that's Robert Scott Smith. And then in the black suit, that's Austin Archer. So Scott Smith has a theater company called Flying Bobcat. And he asked us, Austin's a singer and an actor and a comedian, and he asked us to come and collaborate. So we created a piece called Love, and we performed it at this theater that's inside of the Leonardo Museum downtown. And this was one of the coolest experiences of my life, to create the show and to work in this group of people that I loved and trusted and was so inspired by. They were so smart, and we made it out of nothing other than it's going to be called, I think the title, the official title was Love, a mixed media cabaret unlocking the science of love, something like that.
Interesting.
So we brought bits and pieces.
Please tell more about that. What does that mean?
It was songs, snippets of songs that would then go over into a little scene that maybe we either wrote or took from a book. I remember I went through old diaries and used a lot of little bits and pieces there, and then we'd break into another song. it was just somewhat of a variety show. And there was a piece where Scott was on roller skates and maybe Austin was playing the guitar and singing acoustically and just a little bit of everything. And it really worked and was really beautiful. And we've always said we're doing Love 2.0. Ooh. We don't know when, but it will happen. It will happen. And it was just a really special performance. I think there's little snippets on YouTube somewhere.
Really? Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, go and check that out. I'm going to check that out. Okay, how do you know this man?
Cooper!
How do you know this man?
Do you know Cooper?
I worked with him for ever at a trampoline park.
What? When?
Let's see. What year was it? It was probably 2012, 2013.
Like a trampoline park, like a jump around or a get air or something like that?
Get air hang time. That was the place.
Shut your mouth.
I saw this. I went, okay. I just need context as to how she does this person because Cooper is awesome. I love that guy.
Is one of my favorite people. I love him so much. So talented, so sweet. Again, another one of those friends that inspires me, leaves me uplifted when I can be around him. He lives in New York, so I don't see him much now. I saw him a couple years ago. This trip back to New York, this would be 2 years ago this summer. So we met in 2015 in the spring when he directed me in A Streetcar Named Desire.
What?
Yes.
That was going to be... Is that the next one? No. Where is it? There. That was the next...
Yes. So that's the production that he directed me in. So I was Blanche. If, I'm sure you've heard of A Streetcar Named Desire, like everybody listening, Stella, Marlon Brando. So we did this incredible production at the Gateway in the old Anthropology building. So it was, nothing was in there. We created our own space, our own set. It was a dinner theater that we did, and he was amazing.
That is so cool. Sorry, I had to switch it over because I did not know if it was actually cutting to you. So I kept pressing the button and it wasn't actually registering on the thing. So I was like, is this actually cutting to her? Or is this just been on me through the entire thing?
Well, we like that too. So we became close. We became friends during that process. And then, he moved back to New York. And when I was there a year and a half ago, we had this day of adventure. This was at the Rosé Mansion, which was like a pop-up museum and rosé and wine tasting. So we went all through it. You could swing on chandeliers. We took pictures in this big gigantic throne with our king and queen hat.
Yes.
And we have a bunch of these photos and we were taking them. Someone was taking them for us and we were posing and mixing it up and looking like we really, were there on purpose or knew what we were doing. And someone came up and they were like, "Who are you people?" Mm-hmm. It was hilarious. We're like just a couple of nerds having fun.
You two look out of your mind happy.
He is the best. That was a good day.
Okay, so this one, I went through a couple of these, but dancing. I didn't know you were doing a lot. Was this mainly I don't know what to call it, just a ballet type dance, or was it?
No, so this is a picture from another play I did back in 2007 called Damn Yankees.
Oh, I've seen Damn Yankees.
And it's a musical.
Yeah.
And I used to do primarily musical theater. So I was dancing and singing all the time. And that was probably one of the last really big dance heavy shows that I did actually. But that was right before I took my equity card. So that was at the Sandy Amphitheater. That's Freddie. I ended up doing, I think, almost 3 shows in a row. We played romantic leads from each other in Damn Yankees, then Little Shop of Horrors, and then Hair. And it was such a blast.
Awesome. Let's see. This was, you're Bride of Frankenstein in this, no?
Yes. So this is funny. I just showed somebody this the other day. That was for a hair show. And I can't remember what year this was. Maybe 2015-ish, 14, I don't know. But it was for a big hair show. So you should have seen the close-up of our faces. The makeup was elaborate. We had prosthetics.
Are they on Instagram too?
They might be. I'm not sure. But I remember sitting in makeup all day long, honestly, from morning until the show at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. That was the first time I've ever had contacts in my eyes.
Oh, really?
And by the time that show rolled around, I was like, my eyes are on fire. That wig was so heavy. I was like, I'm in pain.
I can imagine.
My neck hurts. My eyes hurt.
Held together with duct tape and hairspray?
And a wish and a prayer. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so we've already done that. I want to know what does your tattoo mean? It's something that whenever anybody sees a tattoo, the first thing they ask is, what does that mean?
What does it mean? So my favorite poet is Sylvia Plath, and that's a little ode to her. So you see the words I am in one of her poems, and also in her only book, The Bell Jar. And in The Bell Jar, it's her heartbeat. I am. So I have it for a couple of reasons, because of her, because of that, and also because you always have to be conscious of what you're putting after the words I am. So it's kind of a reminder of that, and also a reminder of the heart and of your existence.
That's more meaning than I've heard anybody put in a tattoo.
Awesome.
That's way cool. Me, I was like, triangles work.
What do you have? You have some tabs?
I literally have a triangle. That's about it. I was looking up minimalist tattoo designs. That was how basic I was when I was trying to figure out what a tattoo would be.
Well, it's okay. I mean, I do have a fairy on my shoulder blade that I got when I was probably like 20 years old. It has no meaning at all. So random. Would never have gotten it now, but what you gonna do?
Well, I think we might have something kind of close to it. I'm gonna skip to that. It's not a fairy, but there's a lot of unicorn love on your Instagram.
There is. Do you like the caption? This is a picture of me meeting my birth mother, obviously.
My horn can pierce the sky. I hope you've seen The Office. Otherwise, I was really
I love The Office.
Okay,
Dwight Schrute is one of my spirit animals. That's just, me meeting my birth mother.
Does she have a name?
Mom. I've just loved unicorns my whole life. Like, I know that they're cool. They're trendy. It's a thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I liked them before they were cool.
Sea shanties and unicorns are the big trending things right now.
Oh, come on. Some of us were way ahead of the game. I mean, I have a picture of me in like 3rd grade where I went, as a unicorn for Halloween. And it's just always been a thing I loved, had them in my room, and they're magical and cute, and I will always be a fan.
Mm-hmm. Now, were you, this is the opposite of a unicorn, were you surprised at being around Tom Green? How was that? How did you meet each other, first of all? Was this from a show or something that he showed up to?
So, Patrick, you are going to think I'm such a weirdo. I feel like anybody who listens to this and doesn't know me, they're like, you are so surprising. Like, I always hear that I'm so surprising to people because it's never whatever they assume.
Well, that's good. We're getting some good stuff in this.
Because I'm weird. So I love Tom Green.
Really?
My
no
love
judgment.
for him it's deep and real. From the time the Tom Green show was on, I was like obsessed with him. I weirdly had a weird crush on him. I don't know what it is. Anyway, so I was a huge fan. Did you ever watch the Tom Green show? Do you know about that?
So here's the thing. MTV was in the stage where I definitely wasn't allowed to be watching it.
Yeah.
But I'd sneak into the back room and start watching it.
Yes.
So Tom Green show was always there. Anything that, like when Pauly Shore was doing his spring break stuff, like all the weird stuff like that.
Those were the days.
Right.
Simpler
Carson Daly.
times. Oh, man. Yeah.
Being relevant.
What I wouldn't give to just go back in time for one day, man. But I loved the Tom Green show. I loved weird pranks and spoofs and how silly and odd he was. And I don't know if you'll remember this. I think only like hardcore Tom Green fans will know what I'm talking about. But he had the Bum Bum song where he would like put his bum on things and sing about it. And he like put his bum on a big sign that said Swedish. And he'd be like, my bum is on the Swedish. Like just weird. So anyway, I made him a Bum Bum book. And it was
Really?
like me putting my bum on things. And then I went and saw him at Wise Guys. This was probably 2012, 13. And I got to meet him. And I told him that I was a lifelong fan and that I was in love with him. And I gave him the book and that was it. Mm-hmm. He didn't confess his love back. We did not end up together. And I guess that's okay.
Well, that's his loss. Jesus. You did TED Talks.
I hosted.
Yes. Okay.
But can I tell you that is like on my bucket list?
One day. What would your TED Talk be?
See, that's the thing. I don't know. It would have to be every year that it comes around. So that was like 5 years ago, hosted the whole day. And it's a big day. It's like a 6-hour day of talks. Mm-hmm. And you are introducing the people and, segueing. And it was amazing. And every year, since that I've always kind of kept an eye to see what's the theme, because it has to just be the right theme to even submit an idea. And I haven't quite seen that pop up yet, but I have several ideas kind of in my back pocket that we'll see which one I end up going with. I don't know if I would ultimately want it to be about divorce and relationships and overcoming that. I mean, and that sounds very vague, and, I have my specifics within that, but yeah, or it might be about motherhood. And again, very vague, but I've got some thoughts. I don't know. We'll see.
That's so cool. And how was hosting it? Was there a lot of TED Talks that was happening during that day, or was it just like a main showcase or something?
Tons. There was tons. I don't remember how many, but it really was like a 6-hour day. We had a rehearsal the night before. It's a huge event. And in the years prior to that, I had been asked to MC after events and after parties, and those were always fun. But it was so cool to be up there, introducing the day and segueing and getting to read about each person and meet each person. And it was so beautiful and fascinating.
Well, now we're going to go to the portion where it's going to get serious.
Let's do it.
It's not going to get serious.
Oh, let's not do it.
We're going to get very serious.
We could, though.
It's very serious.
I mean, I'll go anywhere you want to go. That's the thing. Like, we can be goobs or we can cry.
I think that needs to be the barometer for the show. Is I need to be crazy. We need to be silly. We need to laugh, cry.
Yeah.
I think I've got a lot of questions that are silly, but this one caught my eye as I was scrolling through because I was checking up on it. What was the hardest lesson that you learned in your career?
Oh, I thought you were going to say in my life. I was like, how much time do you have? And okay.
Well, maybe that could be part. I didn't know if that was too deep, but I was thinking career probably is the one that most people are wanting to know. Kind of like what is the adversity that you faced that was like
the hardest lesson in my career? I think that it's learning to adapt from what you might start out with your heart and mind 100% set on. I think it's learning to be open to other things that might fulfill you and you might find that you have a knack for, you're good at, or that are fun, but in a totally different way. Like if you would have asked me 10 years ago if I would have ended up as a TV host or even thought about that, I would have been like, no. And to be open enough to fall into that, well, you'll love this story now that you know about the YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
So,
because I know it was YouTube, I just don't know exactly where it went.
Yeah. So this was over 10 years ago now. I was contacted. I started out at a station here at Channel 2, and they contacted me to come on as Little Miss Honeybee.
What?
One of my YouTube characters.
That's awesome.
And
is it on YouTube?
Yes. This my first clip ever from
Cut
TV.
To that. We're cutting to it.
You have to see it. You'll die. So it's the opening of, I think it's New Moon. So the Twilight series, the second ever Twilight.
I did watch those Twilight ones you did.
So that was my first time ever on our local live TV was as this super fan, or my character, Little Miss Honeybee, which if you're like, what are you talking about? It's me playing this little girl and she's just a total spaz, and people will either find her very funny or totally annoying. There is no in between. And
hi,
that's
Miss
okay.
Honeybee. How are you doing today?
Oh, she's not coming out.
No,
she's not.
She's
she
hiding?
Has to be in full. You have to see the hair. You have to see her glasses, her outfit. I mean, maybe one day she'll stop by.
She's somewhere. She'll show up.
She might stop by. You never know, but she has to be in full character. Like, you have to see it.
Cool.
But so I did that. And then that led to a relationship with them. And then that led to filling in and doing actual, hosting and interviewing people on the news, and kind of bounced around with some local stations, created an entertainment segment of my own, and filled in. I was up for various shows on various networks, filled in on lifestyle shows, and just kind of made my way to where I am now with it. But I didn't know it was something that I loved or something that I really wanted to do until probably 5 or 6 years ago. And then I was like, oh, this is an option. What will it mean if I say this is now what I would like to do as a full-time job? Like, yes, I can still do theater in the evenings and when it pops up, but if I live here and I now am a TV host, what does that mean for giving up dreams of New York and of Broadway?
Yeah.
So I think for me, it was being open to something that still felt like it was in the entertainment industry, but totally different.
That's such an important lesson I think people need to know, because it's like you said, if you're stuck in this one situation and you're headstrong in it, you're not seeing any other opportunities.
Yes.
And those opportunities are going to get you so many different like skills, traits. And I think you really were able to observe the space around you and the opportunities and just take advantage of all of them.
Yes. And I think it's important to say yes and not to pigeonhole yourself, but to just try it all and see what sticks and what you like and let yourself be surprised.
Absolutely. You are a Chihuahua fan.
Yes.
Noodles. What made you steer towards Chihuahuas? Do you like just the smaller dogs?
I do.
And tell me a awesome Noodle story.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So first of all, he's my pup that's now 13 years old. And when I got him, he was just 1.5 pounds. He could fit in the palm of your hand. And I think it was just tiny and small and cute. And the day that I got him, I saw him and it was love at first sight. He had the cutest little puppy face I've ever seen. But the cool thing about Noodles is that he's a famous little pup. So he's got a Facebook page. I'd no longer keep it up, but it's called Noodles, the Famous Chihuahua. And back in the day, like the height of the YouTube stuff, he was getting his own buzz and his own fans. And he appeared in videos. He got on the cover of a pet magazine.
Did he?
He was featured in, local magazines here. I mean, he's a famous little pup. A painter even painted him, and that painting sold. So somewhere, somebody's got Noodles on their wall.
And do you have cats too?
No.
Okay, I saw a couple cat pictures, but I wasn't sure. Do you, then that's my question. Do you think that cats and dogs can cohabitate with each other, or is there always a power dynamic?
No, I think that they can. I think they probably have their little tiffs. But I'm so allergic to cats.
Me too.
And my little boy wants one so bad. He has them at his dad's, but he's like, oh, can we get one too? And I'm like, never. No, never.
When I touch a cat, I had 2 cats growing up, and after one of them passed away, I just have been allergic. It was pretty traumatic. A dog had killed the cat, and we were pretty young. And I remember vividly, my parents had taken us to Denver because I was living in Wyoming at the time. I was mainly raised in this really small town called Rollins. I don't know if it's like, I call it a half a horse town because there's not enough space for a full horse in there.
That time, okay. But how many people are we talking, like population wise?
I mean, enough to where if you went outside, you probably would have some people knowing what you're up to that had an interconnection with your family. Like anything you did would eventually get back to them.
Got it. Okay.
Small community. And like there was even a smaller one that was, I don't know, like the horse's leg. That's all that anyway. Where was I going with this? Oh, the cat.
The dog killed the cat.
Yeah.
I'm traumatized. Did you see that happen?
Why am I laughing? That's awful. No, I did not see it happen. I saw a cat's name was Rucker, his tail, because the neighbor had brought Rucker in, and I think the neighbor owned the dog that it did it. So they're trying to be responsible, be like, we're really sorry, we don't know what to do. They took the cat to the vet, and from there, they came and got us. We went to Denver, went to a Rockies game. They tried to make it like as good as possible. And really something in hindsight, when you get older and you look at like how your parents handled certain situations, I think that was a good way to handle it.
Yeah.
Like that, it worked really well. And I remember being in the hot tub at the hotel of La Quinta when they were telling us like what had happened. And yeah, from that point on, any cat I get close to, my eyes swell up, start sneezing, can't do anything. And it wasn't until like 3 years ago where we got a dog where it was like, oh shoot, I'm not allergic to some animals, like horses I'm horribly allergic to. I don't know if is it just cats for you?
Yeah, but some dogs. And I think it totally depends on the breed and the type of hair.
Yeah, and not even hypoallergenic. Like sometimes dogs don't even shed at all, or like the size. I'm assuming for you it might be because like Pomeranian, Chihuahua, they both are smaller size. So
your Pomeranian's so cute. I love him.
Frank
by the way,
Tank,
he's
shout
so
out. He ain't got no Insta. He's off the grid.
For now, until you start talking
He's
about
like
him,
Banksy.
maybe post here and there, and
He's like
he's
Banksy.
going to
You're
blow
just going to
up.
show up somewhere.
Yeah.
You'll be like, whoa.
Yes, I love it. He's an international man of mystery.
Well, I think I've gone through pretty much all of the questions.
That's it. This is fun.
I've been loving this. Really, thank you.
I love doing these.
So much for coming for this. And let me ask, who is your inspirations? Like, who are the people that inspired you to get to where you are today?
Oh,
They
man.
deserve a shout out and recognition for the person you are, and this platform with 1 to 2 viewers need to get that recognition.
They need to know. Okay, so are we talking as far as wanting to perform or wanting to act? Like what famous people or who in my life supported me or all of the above?
I think where I'm looking for is who was the person that when things were tough, you could turn and look at and say, as long as I have this kind of steadying calm, I can get through it.
I think my parents.
That's okay.
I mean, I remember being 5 years old and them handing me a cassette of Phantom of the Opera, and me having my little mind blown. I was like, what is this? And then being in 6th grade and being taken out of school to go and see a matinee of Les Mis coming through. And again, being like, that. I want to do that. And they always had me in different artistic classes, whether it was painting, drawing, singing, dancing, piano, art, whatever it was. I was always kind of immersed in that. And they were always so supportive of it. And it's funny thinking about it now, especially now that I'm a parent and, hearing your kids say, I'm going to be an actor. I'm going to work in the theater. I'm going to move to New York. Were you ever, and I've asked them before, were you ever scared or thought, oh, what if that doesn't work out? What if she doesn't do it or can't do it or whatever? And they're just like, no, like just totally
That's so cool.
Calm and cool and confident. And so, yeah, I never really had any adversity when it came to that within my family or my home of, what I wanted to do. And I think because of that too, I can look at Charlie, my son now, and it's like, whatever you want to do, we're doing it.
Yeah. Such a strong support network.
Yeah.
And it's like a foundational support network. It's not just like somebody from school that's like, you can do it.
Yeah. And I did have teachers who inspired me along the way. But like when I think of the root of it and who has been there all along, it's been my parents being my number one freaking fans. Mm-hmm. So Lauren and Claude, they're thebomb.com.
Awesome. Well, I really want to thank you again for coming on. This has been so much fun.
It's so fun.
Good Things Utah, of course, they can find you every week. And anything else that you want to plug that you've got going on lately?
No, just having a baby in May, so wish me luck.
Well, of course, you can check us out on patrickradyoreviews.com, the Gaggle of Geeks Network, where this button mashing and the main show is there. Be sure to give us a like and follow Deena. All of our social media stuff, we're going to be putting that up on the screen. Thank you again so much for watching, and we will see you at the next review.